So you've contracted a spore infection and now you're down with the sickness. I bet you'd like to know how you got it, who has it, and just how to deal with it. Well, you're in luck. I've killed many crew members in my negligence so you don't have to. We'll talk about the source of the infection, transmission vectors, how to implement quarantine measures, and treatment protocols. Alien spore infections come from a few sources: spore eruptions and being plastered to a wall by a hauler. Spore eruptions come from alien hive cores evolving alien cores and infected crew members who will have a seizure, which will infect crew members without a spacesuit in the immediate vicinity. However, spores have a chance to penetrate spacesuits, so paying attention to your crew who encountered spore eruptions is very important. We'll cover that a little bit later, but first, let's follow the infestation process and when spore eruptions can happen. Alien hive cores are formed when an evolving core attaches to the hull of a ship and implants itself in the hull floor, while spreading some alien environment. Then it consumes oxygen, carbon dioxide, and water vapor. During this evolving alien core stage, you can draft a crew member and have them shoot it to prevent it from evolving. However, this will initiate a local spore eruption which can infect your crew member or any bystanders located in the same room or just outside of that room. In this scenario, the only way to prevent an infection is to remotely open a door into that space and take the longest shot possible. If you can't get a clear long shot, throw on a spacesuit, keep the other crew away from the infestation site, and blast that thing. This may drop an evolving alien core for use in research. What happens if you don't intervene? Approximately 24 in-game hours later, an evolving alien core will change into an alien hive core, spawning hauler and crawler eggs shortly thereafter. This will rapidly expand the alien environment, growing wall cocoons to lovingly embrace your crew, and continually spawning more eggs. If left alone, this alien hive core will periodically erupt spores in a wide area. This isn't a huge deal on derelicts, since your crew will likely be in spacesuits already, significantly reducing the infection chance. However, if this occurs on your ship or an NPC ship or station, you may not be in a spacesuit while clearing that newly created loot crate, tragic derelict. Finally, if you fail to kill off the aliens or exfiltrate your crew from contact with one of these alien environments, crawlers will attempt to knock your crew unconscious and haulers will cocoon your crew where they lie. Then, the hauler will pick up that cocoon crew and plaster them to the wall cocoon near the alien hive core. This crew member will have zero energy, but will not lose health and does not need oxygen. They're effectively in stasis. However, this means they're infested with alien spores. Now that we know how crew become infected with alien spores, let's talk about containment followed by treatment during and after the inevitable spore eruption. As I learned in my medical training in the military, the first step in any tactical combat casualty care is to secure the area and make an exfil feasible. After you've secured ingress and egress routes to the casualty plastered to the wall, right-click on them and click the gear. This will cut them out of the wall cocoon, and they'll fall unconscious on the ground. They will need oxygen at this point as they are no longer in stasis. Either give the casualty oxygen by right-clicking and selecting this icon, or pick them up using this icon and carry them back to the shuttle for extraction. Remember, we're bringing a ticking time bomb onto our ship for approximately the next 24 hours. We need to enact quarantine protocols. Ideally, we have a quarantine room with a medical bed and a single door available like I have here. Once I drop this crew member and their savior off at an airlock, I need to pick them up by right-clicking and selecting this icon here. Then, right-click the quarantine room medical bed. This will have the crew member place the casualty in the bed. Once the infected crew member is in the quarantine room, allow your medical staff to perform any needed treatments for physical wounds. As soon as the other crew leaves that room, select the door and click the locked state. This will keep the patient in their room and prevent other crew members from entering at the wrong moment. Ensure the medical bed has IV fluid stocked, as this will keep the infected crew member fed while they await their fate. Look for the feeling ill status, as this is a good indication that the timer has started for a spore eruption, and it'll likely take approximately 24 hours for the crew to suffer a seizure and erupt spores, filling the room with the same spores emitted by the alien hive core. To a lesser extent, this will also affect any rooms with connecting open vents or doors with vents. Should you decide to avoid quarantine or miss that the crew is infected, the worst case scenario could happen. A spore eruption happens in your galley while everyone is on break. That's a lot of damage. While it's almost guaranteed they're infected if plastered to a wall, the same isn't true for contact with a spore eruption, and it's very easy to miss those infections. Don't forget about those refugees and prisoners you find plastered to the walls in derelicts. The same rules apply. Now that we know how we become infected and how to do some basic quarantine procedures, let's talk about treatment post-seizure. The seizure from a spore eruption will take a lot of health and stamina from your crew member. It's not an instant kill. If your infected crew member has recovered most of their health, they will survive, but they'll gain a new condition called spore eruption. The main side effect of this condition is an inability to eat, and it lasts for days. If they can't eat, that means they can't place any food in their stomach. However, we can bypass the stomach by keeping them in a medical bed stocked with IV fluids. Keeping them in a medical bed will also lessen the duration of the condition. To summarize, prevention is the best medicine, but initiating mandatory quarantine for questionable crew will keep the rest of your crew safe. Now go out there and fraternize with the aliens, but don't forget to wear your protection when you do. I'm looking at you, alien lovers.